Good evening and welcome to the Attleborough Town Council Open Spaces meeting on Monday, 15th September 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Apologies for absence.
Councillor Westby and Councillor Down.
Okay. Declarations of interest? No, none. Okay. First, public participation. Has anyone got any questions? No. Okay. Minutes of the Open Spaces Committee meeting on the 21st of July 2025 for acceptance and approval. Has anyone got any queries? Or yes.
No, to accept.
Okay. Second, Councillor Taylor, and all those in favour. Okay, that's everyone. Right. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a sore throat tonight, so I'm a little bit. Allotments to consider tighter security. For consideration resolution. There have been many reports of children from the nearby estate of coming in and stealing produce, damaging plots, and generally making nuisance of themselves. The gates probably need to be raised, and so children cannot enter the site. Perhaps now is the time to consider the signage is put up and it is made clear that authorised plot holders and the visitors are allowed on the site. Sorry, only the plot holders and visitors are allowed on the site. Anyone got any comments?
So what site was that there?
That's the allotments. This is the one down the Groves.
Queens Road.
Sorry?
Queens Road.
No, the Groves,
okay.
the new housing down there. I can't really see what we can do, because the thing is, you know, you can't lock the gates because then you're going, you know, unless you give every allotment hold the key to the gate, or yes, sorry, sorry.
Oh, you go first.
I've got the council.
Okay. Unless the allotment will have a key safe, and the allotment holders have the key safe number.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some accountability regardless, isn't there?
Councillor Taylor,
I think in the first instance, it would be quite reasonable just to put up signage to say that this area is for allotment holders, for the tenants and their guests or their visitors. Whether or not members of the public then take notice of that is, you know, a separate matter, but I think it's a reasonable first step before trying to lock down and have harsher enforcement. While I note that ultimately it is an open space and that would be very difficult to police, but it might be a deterrent. We do have an allotment association in that area, and I wondered, obviously I know it's difficult with Sharon not being here, whether or not they've been consulted and if they had any, you know, if they'd put anything forward themselves. I think we have a allotment holder present. If we can suspend standing orders, then
just yes.
I'm happy to
everyone.
Second.
Yep. Okay. Yes.
I'm not on the allotment association, but I told them all I was coming, and they have given their views and stuff. One suggestion was, I know you said about a lock, but you other allotments in Attleborough in the past have had one with a code, not with a key, so we don't need a key. People seemed kind of happy with that idea if they had a padlock, like chain with a coded thing. Signage would be good as well, but the only thing is, like, most of them are kids that aren't gonna really care whether it says they can come in there or not, because we've had words with some of them. Like, they harassed the chickens. They, like, one of them ended up like breaking their legs, like the chicken, not the kids. And just in general, I don't know. Yeah. That's the only thing that was all.
There is one other thing. I did have a word with one of the allotment holders, and I did tell them that they are responsible for their own sheds and tools in the shed, and it's not our responsibility. You know, if they've been a shed on their allotment, they have to, you know, secure it with lock. Okay, so Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just a question though. If we were to put a lock on the gates at Groves in the Park, they're quite low, aren't they? They're like 4 foot maybe, so they would just be fine.
Jump over it, but like the other week someone stole a tree from my allotment, and I feel like if the gate was locked, it would be at least harder to steal
Yeah,
a tree, because it was in a pot as well, like a really big
yeah.
thing. The other thing is everybody does seem to lock down their sheds and stuff, but they come in and smash the windows and just go in that way.
Councillor Dalton.
I would say yes, we could go for a chain with a lock, and I think that's the first thing we can do, and then the next is to look at the potential costs for increasing the security at a later date.
Anyone else got any comments?
No.
Just that in that as well, in providing a coded lock, we also provide some signage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's a small price to pay for that kind of investment.
So with the signage and the coded lock, has anyone got any thoughts about the being higher gates, or do we wait and see how things go?
I mean, we could wait and just try a lock and better signage.
Okay, you take.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to that.
Okay, thank you for your input. No other comments on the allotments? Okay. On the next item on the allotments is to put more taps on Queen's Road allotments. At the moment, it's only the one, from what I understand. The town clerk is looking at perhaps putting 2 more. Do we need? Yeah.
I can understand the practicality, but have they explored the costings on and the work that would take to do that?
We done it on the Grosvenor Park because we put 4 taps in total. I don't know what the costing was, but I can ask our town clerk, give us some costings on that. But I would think 1, I can't see, because I don't know how many people have been down
It
there.
probably won't be a bad idea because you've got the whole allotment with the taps, top left-hand corner, watering the whole of the allotment. So having another set of taps the other side probably would benefit it. You just might explore the costings.
Okay, we'll explore the costings and then sort of.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in favour of it. Again, as Councillor Bircham has said, it's more about where the pipe work runs, if there's any pipe work already existing,
Practicality.
and the costs of adding extra pipe work if we need it.
Now, following on from that, as we've done it to Grosvenor Park and we're looking at doing it to Queen's Road, I would like to get feedback from the Chapel Road allotments, because that one is looked after on a very regular basis. There's a lot of people, I've seen more people on that allotment site at one time. I don't know how many taps, I think there's
They've
only
only
one
got one
tap.
tap. They've only got one
They've
tap.
only got
Yeah,
one tap. So that's something to consider.
And then we need to consider general improvements altogether.
Yeah.
to pipe work, and not just for Grosvenor, and sorry for Queens, but also
Chapel Road.
Chapel Road.
Okay. And look, as far as I know a few people on the Chapel Road one, and they've had no problems at all with antisocial behaviour or any items that have been stolen. So I think that one's quite very good. Any other comments on allotments? Sorry, Councillor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, mindful we've had discussion, but I don't think we've taken a resolution on either of those items. And the first one was to obviously make purchases like appropriate to the action that we've made. So I just wondered if you wanted a proposal to that, and also to defer the tap items until we've got further information on the costs.
I think so, yeah.
For both sites.
Yeah.
If so, happy to make that a joint proposal for the 2 items.
I'll second.
Yeah.
You know,
Everyone in favour? Right, thank you. Next is events. Preparations for the Christmas market. I understand, Councillor Taylor, you're going to speak on this.
Am I?
Oh,
I can.
well, that's what I've got here.
I have spoken, I've
we'll
spoken
talk-
to Sharon about it briefly and did ask for it to be added to an agenda, just because, you know, it's fast approaching now, we're in September.
Yeah.
And we, the council, haven't really, as far as I'm aware, although Sharon might have done some stuff behind the scenes, as far as I'm aware, we've not really done much in way of preparation. I know that the Lights Committee have started looking at the pitches, because part of the idea behind this was that the pitch fees would make a contribution to the Outdoor Christmas Lights Committee, and it would be done as a fundraising event for them, as well as obviously an opportunity for an event for the town. But in way of, you know, any risk assessments, any TENS. I know Queen Square now has a license, premises license, so that
Road
shouldn't be a
closures,
problem. But if a road closure is required, anything else to that effect, I'm not sure if Sharon's got anything in motion yet, but I think that it's something that's going to need to be looked at.
Can I just put you on the spot a little bit? I've got here that Taylor will speak on this, but now we need to talk about the road closures and that. Are you involved, Sharon and,
I would prefer to take a step back from it,
right,
if you don't mind. Or if the, well,
so we need,
I don't know if you want a small working group from the committee
I think
that
so.
works beneath the committee to focus in on this. Or
I think
if you want to make delegations to Sharon and just give her a tick list of things that we as a committee would like to get put in place, and let her work through it and report back to us. I'm unsure, but I would prefer not to be leading on it.
I think, personally, I think we need a small working group if we're going to do the Christmas market. Has anyone got any comments?
So the Christmas market is run by is it organised by the Cattle Town Council? Okay.
So we really need, you know,
It's only the market stalls that are being organised by the Light Committee,
And
because
the,
obviously
web.
they're taking
and
the
the fees are
pitch
going
fees,
towards it,
yeah,
right.
to fundraise towards the lights.
we'll be organising the road closures, setting out and that. So I think we need a working group. Do you think we should take this to the full council?
It might be worthwhile, just because there's more members
Yeah,
there,
because
if
I
they
was
want
just
to
gonna say,
volunteer
yeah.
themselves. And it
Yeah.
might also be worthwhile, in the spirit of harbouring good relationships with community groups, to invite some of the
Yeah.
Christmas Light Committee onto that working group as well, maybe like a
Yeah.
50-50 split or something.
It's conscious of time as well, because that'd be October, wasn't it? So it's
Yeah.
not leaving us a lot of time.
Yeah, because it's
a great idea there.
quite quickly, won't it?
Well, would it be an idea to put the feelers out in between, so to pass a motion this evening to say that the preference is a working group, the working group to consist of some town
Yeah.
councillors, however many want to volunteer themselves to that, and also members of the Outdoor Christmas
Yeah.
Light Committee, and put the feelers out to see who's interested ahead of the meeting.
Exactly,
So then
yeah.
it can be signed off at the meeting,
Yeah.
and work can kind of get underway. As quickly as
Okay,
possible.
so you're proposing,
I'm happy to
Yeah,
propose
I'll second.
a working group to be made up of members of the town council and light committee.
okay, and councillor
I'll
Allen,
second it,
you
yeah.
second it,
Yeah.
everyone in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone. Because next month in October, it's going to be here before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, new land to be owned, newly owned by the town council updates, Jubilee Wood. I've got a note here. I've asked for the transfer document to be sent digitally. This will now go on the full council committee for approval. Okay. So there's no more to be said that, there's just going to go before the full council. Blackthorn Road, to consider the scheme costing relating to the S106 expenditure. The clerk is gathering costings for the same scheme, for the scheme. Indicative schemes should be acceptable. The 74,000 must be spent by the end of 2026, otherwise it will be returned to the developers. Now, there's I'm sorry, this print is so small, I'm struggling. Has anyone got this on there?
On the phones.
You got it on your.
You have,
On the phones.
because I couldn't get it up on mine
The maps, yeah.
to enlarge it. There's 3 options, and Sharon would like us to choose one of the options. As I said, this is so small, I can hardly. Can you get it up wider so I can? That's better.
Yeah, so ignore the first bit until you get it, and then that's the one on the outskirts by the pathway across. Okay. Yeah, so there's one that cuts down, cuts across in the middle of the area.
Right,
There's one that
yeah,
cuts
what I want to know is
across.
what road do they go? That's,
Blackthorn.
yeah, Blackthorn up
And then
to,
off to the estate there. So
yeah, sorry, councillor Tay, you might.
Yeah, so, I appreciate obviously Sharon's prepared these meeting papers for us, and there was, I looked at the meterage on all 3 of them, and they were notably different. The only thing that I wasn't quite content with was the fact that we had done a public consultation on this, on the site with
Yeah.
the residents that use that space and live nearby. And I was just mindful that they've not been provided in the meeting papers for us to make a comparison to for what the preferred options were. And I have tried to sift through my emails, but for the life of me, I can't find them. So I was actually going to ask if we could, we've still got a little bit of time to get this resolved, if we could maybe defer it to the next meeting so that we have an opportunity to review in comparison to the consultation responses, and also some of the new councillors might like an opportunity to go down and actually visit the site so they get a feel, because it is a large open space, a feel for the impact that these improvements might have, whether that comes back to the next open spaces or even full council. I don't mind. Obviously,
As we've had a public
timescales
consultation,
depending,
we should
but
take that into consideration.
I would prefer a deferment this evening, please, if we may.
I'll second it.
Yeah, okay. So, those by councillor Taylor, seconded by councillor Allen. Defer, all those in favour? Yeah. I do apologise, but I've had drops put in my eyes today, and you know, that is so small, I can't. No, it's another one, that was something I wanted to. Yeah, I think we deferred the costings, the whole thing, yeah.
Sorry.
I'll see if we can get better printout of the map as well.
We can print on
For old people like me. His eyesight's going. Okay. St Edmunds Close, no action as yet due to workloads. So we've had no feedback on that. The chapel listing process update, again, no news as yet to workload. I was hoping that we might have had something by now on that chapel listing. Do we know if we've been in contact with the Heritage Group on that?
No, I think it was inquiry to Brecon Council about the process of actually filing the listing. I think the council
Yeah,
minded
I thought
to
we
do
were
it.
looking at the history of the
depending on
chapel
the
as well,
process.
trying to sort of see what information we could get to. Right, item 10 for consideration and resolution. Inquiry for a pump track a track that could be considered on the Jubilee woodland, but as a wider end where no woodland would be. So that's more the open space. That's, yes, Councillor.
In principle, I wouldn't have any objections to including this within the Jubilee Woodland. The only thing I'm mindful of is at the ANP steering group meeting that we had last week, there was discussion about obviously the size and the scale of the Jubilee Wood as a project, and obviously having a working group that oversees some of that in the similar way that the ANP steering group is. So I think ultimately, while I feel like it would be maybe something that you'd defer to them for them to check the feasibility within the layout and everything else that obviously we're wanting to achieve. I know there's almost 10 acres there, so there's a fair amount of space. So I'm minded to think that some could be allocated, but I wouldn't want to over-promise and under-deliver. So I think it's something that needs to be looked at, not as a singular thing, but in the wider context of the design of the whole open space. That's just my view.
Yes.
Yeah, at the moment, the email that we have been sent, it doesn't say for anything. It's more for consideration. There's no detail of costings or anything like that. That would all have to be looked into and such. So
the equipment, we've got some here, but I think we'll defer that until we know the size of the site and what we can use. So we'll defer that to.
Well, if I may, I'm happy for it to be explored. Like, I'm supportive of the principle of this development being explored, but I think it needs to be explored and, as you say, costed in relation to the development of that site as a whole. For the feasibility, would it work with like the connections and everything else that we want to achieve within that site. But I think that should be deferred to the working group that's yet to be set up. I think it'll be coming forward to the next full council meeting. I think it should be undertaken as part of that project and looked at and costed. So not necessarily deferred, but maybe like reallocated.
Yeah, I think this should go through to the working group. Once we get this feedback from the size of the site that we can use, we don't want to flood it with a lot. We don't want to overdo it. We want to, and it's got to be sort of within the scheme of the woodland, because there's some things that can go in and it'll be outkeeping, and I think that's wrong. I think it should be within the scheme itself. And if we're going to set up a working group, I think it's important that they look at it and study it, and then perhaps come back either to this committee or to the full council. Has anyone else got anything to say? Yes, Councillor Wilson.
yeah, as you've just said, basically we've got to be sympathetic to how we spread the areas. So that goes to the working group, I think, because we already know we want woodland, we already know we want nature walk, we already know half a dozen other things as well. But in this case, yeah,
we could overdo it and then spoil the character really. So we'll defer that until a working group is set up. I wasn't at the last town council meeting. Was it working group to? No. Sorry, Councillor.
Well, obviously, I'm a bit conscious that we already had a working group, didn't we? And before that, we already had another working group. So I don't know if we want to explore. I don't know if we didn't dissolve the working group, did we?
So the Jubilee Woodland never had a working group, it had a committee, so it was a formal committee like this, as a separate one to the Open Spaces Committee, because it was such a large scale project. But because of the timelines and how long things have taken to get the land transfers in place and working with developers and solicitors and stuff, it does take a long time. That was kind of dissolved because it was surplus to requirements at the time. At the ANP steering group, mindful that a lot of the interested don't want to call them like partners, but the people that have expressed interest are predominantly residents with agricultural knowledge and background, or that, you know, that's their profession. So I think what they were anticipating was like a steering group, the same as the AMP steering group, which is very community led, that would feed into the council, is the vision. But I was expecting that to come to the next full council meeting, and then they would oversee like that project as a whole through to delivery.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
I'm just going to say I'm mindful as well that the service outside starts in 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Um,
I take it there's a few of you that like to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
all right.
should,
Us.
would anyone have any objections to us going outside now, pressing pause?
I was just going to say, we've just got
happy to.
the second
Yeah.
public participation items for
Should
next
we have
agenda,
it?
so
Okay.
got 2 more items and we can, second public participation, yes.
It's quick, I promise. There's been loads of empty plots on the Grosvenor Park allotment for like 6+ months now, and everybody's just wondering when they're going to get allocated because they're like overgrown. The weeds are seeding and spreading and ruining all our allotments because there's more weeds everywhere. And we were just wondering if we could push getting those sorted.
Roughly how many, well,
There's at least ones that have had formal notices on their
I
plots.
know there's one
There's like
I've noticed when
four.
I've been up there, but
And then there's a lot that are overgrown which nobody's checked in a long time. So.
If I may, that's administrative. So if we feed that back to Paula, I think she oversees the allotment tenancies. And then she can obviously make sure that the ground staff do the inspections.
I was
and
going to
if
say the ground
any-
staff,
if
I
any
thought went
action's
up there every
required,
week
they can take
to
it.
do an inspection. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, items for next agenda.
Sorry, I don't know if it's for this committee or for Sharon, but can we organise a date for councillors on this committee? Is that what you're going to
That
say
is
as well?
exactly what I
Yeah.
was going to say.
Get everyone
Go on,
together
Simple.
and explore some of these open spaces.
Yeah.
Because obviously new councillors like myself, we don't really know
So
where to look.
that is exactly what I was going to
Yeah.
say. Can we please, yourself as chair and Sharon as clerk, get some dates circulated for a member walkabout?
Yeah.
We can extend that to members outside of this committee as well. And then we can have from the walkabout items for the next agenda
Yes.
come forward, because there
Fantastic.
may well be things that we identify in that process that need a closer look.
Okay, any other items for next agenda? No. Right, just before we close, I will apologise, but I'm a little bit, I've been to the opposition today and I'm seeing sort of, everyone's a bit hazy, that's why I've had trouble reading the map. Apologies about that. Right, nothing else, I shall close the meeting, and if everyone wants to go out.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.